This conference will now be recorded. This conference will now be recorded.
Yeah. Okay. See, till now we have discussed like what is the concepts. What are the concepts we have discussed on Friday, and what is the agenda for today? I'll recap the agenda for today. We'll discuss about what is Mulesoft. Obviously, like it is an integration tool, and what is point-to-point integration? What are the disadvantages of point-to-point integration? And coming to what is ESB integration, and what are all the features of that ESB integration, and why Mulesoft is called as an ESB tool. All these will be discussed today. Okay, and if you have any queries, obviously we'll discuss in the Q&A session in the last part of this session. Okay, and in between, if you have any queries, please stop me. Okay, like coming to on the demo day itself, I have told you like what is Mulesoft basically. If you remember, this is the definition. I'll just recap it exactly. What is the Mulesoft tool? Mulesoft is enterprise application integration platform which integrates enterprise applications seamlessly. Okay, I'll once again repeat it exactly. If there is any enterprise and if there are multiple applications used in that particular enterprise, we integrate those applications, and for that Mulesoft will provide as a platform to do these tasks, do these integrations very easily. Okay, and then obviously Mulesoft will become an integration tool. Obviously it is an integration tool, but what type of integration tool? As per my knowledge or as per the industry, actually like it is an ESB tool, ESB integration tool. It is not a point to point integration tool. Okay, there are different kind of integrations actually, but the first one is point to point integration, which was discovered, and then later on they made some improvements, and one more integration called hub and spoke integration came in, but it didn't live for more time. Immediately ESB integration has come in, and most of the integration tools which are famous or familiar right now in the market are based on ESB, exactly, ESB concept. Okay, see, I told you Mulesoft is an integration tool. It integrates different applications, and I told like it is an ESB integration tool and not a point-to-point integration tool. Okay, right, now we'll go to what is point-to-point integration, and then what are the disadvantages of it, and what is ESB, and what are the advantages of it, and how Mulesoft comes into ESB integration tool category exactly. Okay, see, like already we discussed this point right just now. In Mulesoft is an integration tool, and what is point-to-point integration? See, already we have an example of what to say, four different country people wanted to speak with each other, and they don't have any common language, they don't know any common language exactly. Like let's take an example. We are having an international conference where the ambassadors from each and every country is coming in, and now we have here for from Japan, Spain, and from India, and then France exactly. Okay, all these people have to communicate with each other, and they wanted to conclude the decision in that particular conference basically. But what is the difficulty here? Let's assume that Japan guy doesn't know any other language other than Japanese, and the Spain guy doesn't know any other language other than Spanish and Hindi. See, why I'm taking this example, because exactly everywhere we can speak English, and there is a communication platform which is common across the world. We can use that, and again we can solve the problem. But this is easy to understand. That is the reason I have taken this example, and we are assuming that Japan guy doesn't know other language, he knows only Japanese exactly. The same way with the other people also. Okay, but now for successfully completing the conference and take some decision over there, they need one. They need to communicate with each other exactly. Japan has to guy to speak to Spain guy, and Japan guy has to speak to Indian guy and France guy also. Now, but Japan guy is speaking in Japanese, this Spain guy will not understand, this Indian guy will not understand, and France guy will not understand. Okay, let's take an example. For example, now what we will do, all came to the conference, okay, and everyone came here. And now Japan guy wants to talk to the Spanish guy. Okay. Now what happens? Japan guy will speak in Japanese. Okay. And now there is a translator in between who can convert Japanese to Spanish or Spanish to Japanese. Exactly. Now what happened? Japanese guy has spoken something, and this translator has taken that particular Japanese person's conversation, and he converted into Spanish, and Spanish guy has received the speech in or the conversation in Spanish. He understood what a Japanese guy spoke. Now Spanish guy has to answer it, right? He is answering, and again this Japanese to Spanish or Spanish to Japanese translator will convert that Spanish content into Japanese content, and again it will be sent over the sent to the Japanese guy. Now Japanese guy also will understand. This way they will establish communication between these two people, and they can communicate with each other. It's very easy basically. Okay, now with the help of this translator who came in between. Now if you see, I told you a point to point integration. Okay, what is point to point integration? Japanese is consider Japanese person as one point and Spanish person is one point. Obviously we are establishing communication between this point to this point, and it's very specific to this particular people only. It cannot be utilized for between Japanese and Hindi or Japanese and French. Exactly. Okay, that is the reason we call this as a point to point integration. Now we took the example of only Japanese person wants to speak to Spanish. Okay, that is over. Now I have one more requirement, like Japanese person has to speak with an Indian guy also. He has to establish the communication between uh, Japanese and Hindi person also. Now we need another translator who can convert Japanese to Hindi or Hindi to Japanese, and then establish the communication between this Japanese person and Hindi person. Okay, it's simple. It's happened exactly. Again, this is one more point to point integration. Okay, Japanese is one point and Hindi is one point. Obviously, again we are establishing the communication between these 2 points. This is known as point to point integration. Okay, now again Japanese person wants to establish communication between France person. Again we need Japanese to France or France to Japanese conversion, and then we need a translator over here, and again we are establishing the communication. Okay, this is fine. We establish the communication, and Japanese person is able to talk to all these 3 people and finalize the decision. That's fine. They're able to understand and they're doing everything. But obviously, in this conference, even Spanish person has to communicate with Hindi person, and Spanish person has to speak with this French person also. And at that point of time, again we need some more translators, Spanish to French, Spanish to Hindi also. We'll do that exactly right now. Okay, Spanish to Hindi translator. If you see, for example, like I want to establish the communication between these 2 people, and how, again, two-way. I have written two-way. Why I have written two-way? Can you understand? See, the simple reason, because Japanese person will send a conversation to the translator will translate and again send to Spanish guy will give the response. That's the reason one arrow is for the request, one arrow is for the response. That is the reason we have two arrows exactly. Okay, fine. Now Spanish person has established communication with the Hindi person. Okay, that's fine. But now there is one more communication which has to be established between Spanish and French, right? Again we need Spanish to French translator. Okay. How we will establish? Again the same way here. Okay, again here. If you see, if one wants to speak with another, exactly there are connections or the integrations which are increasing in great number exactly. Okay, one person wants to speak with three different people here, 1 2 3 connections, and now this guy want to speak with the other three people. Spanish to Japanese, obviously already they have a translator, again there is no need of new one basically. Okay, but Spanish to Hindi there is no, we established it, and Spanish to French there is no connection, we established that. Okay, now these people also can speak with each other. Now think of Hindi person want to speak with all the three people. Already Hindi person can speak easily to Spanish because already they have a connection here, and Hindi person has already connection with the Japanese guy, already they can speak with each other. But whenever you see Hindi person cannot speak with the French person basically. Okay, that also we'll do. Here this one is Spanish to French. Okay, this is also over. Now what we will do, we'll establish the communication between Hindi and French. Hindi person want to speak to French person. It means that I'm telling Hindi to French means obviously French to Hindi also possible, because for example you and me are there. You are from Tamil Nadu and you speak Tamil and I am speaking Telugu exactly. Obviously there is a translator in between. He knows both the languages. That's the reason he can convert the Telugu to Tamil, Tamil to Telugu. That's the reason I haven't specifically written again the Spanish to Japanese or again Hindi to Japanese that way. Okay, please understand that. Okay, now we got another translator between Hindi and a French person. Now what I will do, I will take this guy want to establish the communication here. Okay, and here also. Now what happens, we again have to have a two arrows. See, if you see here, for communicating with each other, how many integrations we are developing and how many number of connections you have established. Please check that. See, one person Japanese, and here one connection. Okay, second connection, third connection, fourth, fifth, sixth. We took 6 integrations to be developed for establishing the point-to-point integration. Means we are taking more number of connections. Okay, and one more scenario I just wanted to take exactly here. I wanted to introduce a new person from another country. For example, we'll take German. We want to take German guy. Now, what German guy has to communicate? He has to German guy has to communicate with French guy, Hindi guy, Spanish guy, Japanese guy. How many connections again required? If you check, we require so many number of connections. That's the difficulty in point-to-point integration. For example, like this guy wanted to speak to French guy. Okay, and again one more connection between Hindi and this guy. This guy. How many? Again, another 4 connections. Now, 5 people, 10 connections has come in. Okay, this is one more difficulty. And for example, like you think that at the last moment they told like Japangai is coming from Germany, and we didn't find any translators. What happens? It will be very difficult to find the translator, and at the last moment, and this German guy will not be able to speak with the other guys, and the right result will not come out of that conference exactly. Okay, that is the difficulty. Okay, and one more thing also, if there is any change in one of these, for example, Japanese, they change something exactly, okay, automatically that change has to be reflected in Spanish area also, Hindi area also, French area, because he is communicating with each other. This understanding will clearly understand in the technical example, don't worry. But here, please understand, if one more guy came in from different country, we have to establish point-to-point integration in different between different again country people basically, and the number of connections also increasing. Okay, now we discuss the example of point-to-point integration, and then we'll see the slide here. What did I say? What is point-to-point integration? It's very clear. Two applications need to be integrated. Okay, and here not only two, we integrate different translators and different people exactly, but still what happens, it is very becoming complex exactly. For example, like for any business to run, only they will not have only 4 to 5 applications, right? We'll have some tens of applications to integrate. Think that to integrate all these tens of applications, how difficult it would be if we go for point-to-point integrations. Then industry people came to a conclusion that point-to-point integration will be helpful to certain extent, and for complex integrations this will not be helpful. It will be very difficult to follow this approach and then integrate the applications in an enterprise. So they came up with the concept called ESB. Here if you see, number of integrations are more, and if there is any change in one application, it will force to implement the change in other applications also. That change again, for example, one change they have to do of, for example, like Japanese, they have one change, it has to be implemented in Spanish, in Hindi, in German, in French. This will take lot of time to establish communication for all the people, and again inform everyone, and they also have to make the necessary changes, and then only your total system works properly. Basically, it is another practical challenge exactly. Okay, then addressing these issues, we came into ESB concept, which solves these problems basically. Okay, we'll see that what is that ESB, and how we can overcome those issues. See, when we go for ESB, no, before going for when we go for ESB, we'll check like what is ESB. What is ESB? Enterprise Service Bus. As I already told, why we are using an integration tool whenever we have multiple applications in a enterprise, exactly, we wanted to integrate those applications. That's the reason we are using any integration tool. Enterprise Service Bus. Okay, already I told you what is the meaning of enterprise, already is there. What is the meaning of this service? For integrating all these applications, we are creating a service, and it is like a bus basically. That's the reason it is called as enterprise service bus. Enterprise service bus is a approach exactly, which is defined by the industry people, who if you follow this way, then this is called as an ESB tool. What are those features and all, we'll discuss now. Okay, now whenever we wanted to go for multiple applications to be integrated, then we should go for ESB, Enterprise Service Bus. Now we'll discuss about what are the features of it. Okay, if any tool which has these three capabilities, okay, that tool is called as Enterprise Service Bus tool. Okay, what is that? Orchestration, okay, and allow transformation, and allow enrichments. We'll see what are these three things exactly. Okay, fine. Don't worry about what is orchestration, what is transformation, what is enrichment. If any tool which facilitates these three features can be called as ESB tool or ESB integration tool. Okay, now I already told, if you check out any We go to naukri.com once. If you see, I can check for Mulesoft, and if you see Mulesoft ESB, and sometimes they call as Mule ESB, all this, as in the first session itself, I told you, like, don't get confused with Mule ESB, Mulesoft ESB, Mulesoft integration, or Mulesoft or Mule integration. Don't confuse with all these terms. Why I told you exactly? This is the reason. See, Mulesoft is a company, and the product of that company is called Mule ESB. Exactly, Mule ESB. But in the regular conversation, what we will do, we will call it as Mulesoft ESB, only Mulesoft developer, or Mule ESB developer, or Mulesoft integration developer, only integration developer. This way we call multiple ways. Don't get confused. Now you're very clear that what is Mulesoft. Mulesoft is a company. Okay, for the users, they call it as Mulesoft developer also. Okay, and again Mulesoft as a product also. But Mulesoft is not the product exactly. The product name is called Mule ESB. Okay, Mule ESB. And why they named it as Mule exactly? Because I already told you to write an integration, or to establish an integration between two different systems. For example, we can do with the help of Java, .NET, all these languages also, but you have to write hundreds of lines of code for establishing a connection between two systems exactly. For example, like for establishing connection between this point to this point, we have to write so many lines of codes. That whole donkey work is taken out by Mulesoft. It will take care of the whole thing. You just drag and drop the connector in between, and then just write the configuration. Within 1 or less than 1 minute, you can establish a connection between these two basically points. That's very easy. And the whole donkey work means, which is blind work, okay, will be taken care by the Mulesoft tool itself. That's the reason they call it as Mule. Mule means it's similar to donkey basically. All the hard work is taken care by the Mule ESB tool, and the smart work which is required will be doing by you basically. That's the reason they named it as Mule ESB, or Mulesoft ESB, or Mulesoft integration tool. All this way, Mulesoft means Mule, combination of Mule and software basically. Software which helps to take out the donkey work and increase your efficiency for the smart work basically. For that reason, we call this as Mule ESB or Mule. They named that way exactly. It will take out the donkey work. Why I have taken you to this here, right? Don't confuse with Mule ESB, Mulesoft. Now you should be familiar. If anyone speaks to you like, are you a Mule ESB developer? Yes. Are you a Mulesoft developer? Yes. Are you a Mulesoft integration developer? Yes. All are very similar terms exactly. Don't worry about the differences exactly. Already you might have understood all the differences also. Mulesoft is an integration tool, and Mulesoft is an ESB integration tool. Okay, and Mulesoft has a product called Mule ESB. Okay, all this keep in your mind, and obviously you'll be able to answer to the recruiters or answer to your peer group exactly. Okay, now I told you, like, we came to a concept called ESB, Enterprise Service Bus, and it has overcome the problems also. Okay, just give me a moment. Now, 1 second. I think I have issue with the battery. Just give me a Sorry for that. Any questions till now? Exactly. Any questions? No. Shall I proceed? Okay. Okay, I'll proceed. See, I told you, like, when we call any tool as ESB tool, it should allow the orchestration, it should allow the transformations, it should allow the enrichments. If all these three are available in that particular tool, it will be called as an ESB tool. What are these features? We'll understand one by one exactly. Like, okay, in general terminology, if you see like in general terminology, please tell me what is called orchestration exactly. What is called orchestration? Anyone can answer? Okay, I'll take a general example like here. Okay, I only will explain that. For example, like we have three to four different instruments like a flute, drums, and a violin. Okay, and a flute person is playing that flute in his own style and in his own speed, and drums guy is uh, playing the drums in his own speed, and violin guy is playing his violin in his own speed. Now, if you see whether it can we can hear that music, no, it will get a random music without any coordination between them basically. For example, an orchestrator came in between who tells these three people when to play their own items and at a timing exactly. Then we can hear the very nice music. Now an orchestrator came in between and coordinated between these three different music instruments people, and then told them you have to play at this point, you have to play, and the combination will form a very nice music. Okay, that's called orchestration in a general example. It means that when a orchestrator will come in and coordinate with each and everyone, and he will put in the best timing among them exactly, that's known as orchestration. The similar concept there is we have to have in an ESB tool also. Okay, and that orchestration is utilized for a different purpose. I'll tell you exactly. Okay, it means that one has to coordinate with each other, and then a proper coordination and proper timing is important to form the orchestration logic. Okay, now as I already told, why we require an integration tool. For example, like a Japanese guy is speaking to Hindi person because they don't know each other's language and they don't understand. The same way, whenever it comes to applications, exchange of data happens between two different applications. For example, like one system is using XML data, one system is using JSON data format. Exactly what is XML and what is JSON we'll see in the further sessions in detail, but here understand XML is one data format and JSON is one data format. Okay, and these one system is using XML format, one system is using JSON format. Now if XML data is sent to the JSON system, JSON data system, it will not understand. Now again, in between, a Mulesoft ESB tool will come into picture and change that XML to JSON and JSON to XML whenever required. Exactly, that is known as transformation. Okay, changing one data format to another format, if that feature is available, then it is known as enterprise service bus basically. Okay, allow enrichments. There is another concept called enrichments. What are enrichments? For example, like I told you already, in customer relationship management module called Salesforce, basically all the customer data will be available in that particular module. Okay, it is an application. In that application, all the customer related. For example, like you wanted to place an order on Amazon. Now, what happens in Amazon? They are using for storing all the customer data in Salesforce. Okay, your first name, last name, your date of birth, your addresses, your permanent address, your communication address. For example, like you are from a native place, you have native place one address and another address from Hyderabad. What happens whenever you want to do all these details will be stored in Salesforce CRM basically. Okay, now there is another application which needs to we have fetched a first name, middle name, and last name from Salesforce CRM application. There is another application which needs full name exactly. It won't understand. What we will do, we will concatenate first name. Concatenate means clubbing. First name, middle name. See, my name is, for example, like Mahesh Reddy, for example. I am fetching Mahesh, I am fetching Reddy. Okay. Now we have to concatenate these two and then send to the third system, which needs the full name basically. Okay. That also, that is known as enrichment. That is also possible with the help of ESB tool. If these three features are there, then that particular tool is known as ESB integration tool. Now we will see whether Mulesoft has all these three capabilities or not, and why. If it has these three capabilities, then it is called as ESB. Okay, we'll go to an example over here. Okay, shall I? Until now, any questions? This particular ESB concept, features of ESB and ESB. Any questions? Shall I proceed? Okay, okay. Yeah, please, at least if you are not able to speak, please send a chat message. Actually, some people are sending it here. And see, if I receive what to say, like responses from multiple people, then I understand like, okay, these people are able to understand and I can proceed further. Okay, fine. See, I just told you if these three features are available, then it is called ESB integration tool. Okay, let's go to an example. I'm taking an example of Flipkart Enterprise. Okay, Flipkart is an enterprise, and again, Flipkart has multiple applications. If you see here, for inventory management, one application. For CRM, just now I told Salesforce application. For billing, they're using Geneva application. For payment, they're using Razorpay payment gateway. See, don't worry about these different applications, but I'll just give you a glance exactly. Like inventory management, what we will do, for example, like I want to place an order for a Samsung phone, maybe Samsung some model. Then immediately it will check for whether the stock is available or not. If the stock is not available, it will tell stock is not available. If stock is available, inventory is available, you can place the order. That particular section will be handled by this inventory management section. Okay, and coming to Salesforce, just now I spoke, I told about this exactly. All the customer related details: what is his name, what is his address, what is his date of birth, what all the orders he placed, all those things will be in his Salesforce CRM. And payment, whenever you want to make payment, okay, immediately it will be integrated with this particular payment gateway. It will go to that page, and then you can make the successful payment, and then your bill will be generated. Exactly. Okay, all these four applications have to communicate with each other. Okay, and I'll compare, I'll keep one more application also for increasing little bit. Delivery application. Now you opened your Flipkart app. I told you Flipkart is an organization. That's the reason we call it as an enterprise. Okay, and we are seeing the example of ESB integration, Mule ESB integration. How Mulesoft will help us here, basically. Okay, and you took the phone and you're checking. You searched for the model of the Samsung phone which you wanted to buy. Actually, you searched for that particular model. What happened right now? Immediately, it told like we'll send a request to the Mule application. This is a Mule application basically. What we will do, we'll insert one. Mule application. Sorry for that. 1 second. Yeah. Okay, if you see, this is called as Mule application. We have developed an application with the help of Mule or Mule project or whatever we call basically. Okay, just understand, we'll go into the depth of that particular concept again, but here please understand, as soon as we send a request, it will check for the stock and it will send the response to the respective person. Okay, fine. Now we receive the request. It will check for whether it will send. We have an inventory management connector related to Mulesoft. Connector means we'll just establish the connection with that particular application with the help of a connector exactly. Okay, that connector will help us to communicate with the inventory management application. That application will see the response exactly. Okay, the stock is available. Okay, and now you have searched for it, and then you want to just place the order here. You have sent the request, and immediately in the source section of Mule application, it will see that okay, this request has come for an order, and it will send the respective Mule application here. Now we are establishing the connection between inventory management and the connector. What happens? It will tell like, okay, that particular Samsung mobile phone is available. You can proceed further. Now we'll receive a response from here, and then we'll go to the next component over here. Basically, component is nothing but just keep in mind that component means nothing but one connector or one transform message or anything basically in the AnyPoint Studio. But don't confuse that. Don't get yourself confused. After we go and develop, start development, you'll see all this exactly. Now Mahesh is placing the order. Already Mahesh has account with Flipkart. Already, like I have my addresses, I have my name, everything exactly. Now what happens? The stock is available. It will again talk with Salesforce application. Okay, Salesforce see, for example, like first we receive the request, and Mule application itself has an internal communication. Okay, it will, these arrows include that it can source can communicate with this connector, and this connector can communicate with this. Okay, this will connect with this way. They have an internal communication mechanism. Don't worry about this exactly. This will take automatically at the background. Okay, this arrows symbol, but only we have to take care of these particular connectors, this one, all these we have to take basically. Now it spoke with the, or it communicated with the inventory management, and then it gave a response like, okay, the stock is available, you can proceed for the further processing. Now we have placed another connector called Salesforce connector. SF connector is nothing but Salesforce connector. I just for the convenience I have written like SF connector, IM connector, like that. Okay, now we establish a communication between the Salesforce application and our Mule application. What happens now? It will say, it will get all your details, your first name, last name, your address, for which address you wanted to deliver the product. All these will be fetched from the Salesforce application. Now this Salesforce application, we got the data. As I told you, for example, like this billing application requires my full name, not my first name and middle name or last name. Okay, that way we will in the enrichment part, what we will do, we will take the first name, middle name and last name received from the Salesforce application, and we'll concatenate that and send it to the billing application whenever required basically. Okay, that enrichment part is taken care here. Okay, and now coming to the transformation. For example, we receive data from Salesforce and it is in JSON format, and for a billing thing we need the same information or some enriched information in XML format, for example. Okay, XML format. Okay, see, now again that transformation will take care of. Already I told you like what are the features of that ESB tool: orchestration logic, transformation, enrichment. Here if you see, this is called as orchestration. What is orchestration? It is coordinating with different connectors here, and one after the other it is sending, and whether any coordination is missing over here, coordination between all the applications is managed by MuleSB. In that concept, if you check in that context, this orchestration logic is already fulfilled. Okay, and coming to the next session, I told you this JSON to XML we are changing here. Even that is also fulfilled. Okay, I already told you we need one more enrichment that is also fulfilled. Means all the features of ESB are fulfilled by Mulesoft tool exactly. Okay, orchestration is fulfilled and transformation is fulfilled and enrichment is fulfilled. Transformation here, enrichment here. We have different connectors for different purposes. Don't worry about what is connector and all exactly. Whenever we go to the practice, we'll understand. Don't worry about it. Okay, see here, orchestration. This particular flow is managing the things, coordinating with each other application, and then it is managing everything. And that's the reason orchestration is fulfilled. And when it comes to transformation, data format JSON to XML or XML to JSON, whenever required, that data format conversion is being done by the Mule ESB application. And enrichment, like I told you, like the first name, last name, and middle name concatenation will be done here, and then we will send it to the P connector. P connector means payment. Now we can establish the connection between this Mule application and the payment connection, and you have made the payment. You entered the card details, and then it is successful. The payment is successful. Now immediately, as soon as you place the order, what happens? Bill will be generated. Yes or not? Okay, bill will be generated. Billing application, as I told you already, it requires the data in XML format and the full name of it, exactly all those some address details and all will be with all the details, it will be generating the bill also. In the same time, we need another application, another connector here to send the details to delivery app also. Exactly, like when they have to deliver delivery address and order details, bill also has to be sent. Okay, for that we need another connector here, maybe the connector, and for that it will again here communication will happen, and again, okay, see here if you see 5 applications are there, 1 2 3 4 5 5 connections are established, but for the same 5 applications, how many connections with the help of point to point integration? 10. Means the number of connections are reduced. This one is reduced. Yes. Okay. And for example, another challenge, change in one application will force to implement the change in other applications also. Here I have one change in the inventory management. Okay, just do the change in Mule application. No need to change in CRM, no need to change in payment, delivery, and billing. Whether this challenge is also resolved? Yes, this is also resolved. Now, the problems which are available in point-to-point integrations have overcome by the ESB tool exactly. Okay, and now that is the reason this is the more popular integration platform in the world right now in the IT industry. That is the reason. See, these are the 3 important things for any integration tool has to have. These 3 features are already available on Mule ESB. Again, I'll go to another example, Flipkart Enterprise Applications, and here integration. That's the reason. Why is it called as Enterprise Application Integration Tool? Okay, ESB tool. Enterprise Service Bus. It acts as a bus exactly, and it is carrying all the services over here. That's the reason Enterprise Service Bus also. Is that clear now? Why Mulesoft is called ESB tool? ESB tool, is that clear? Any queries? Actually, now I think for today I have taken enough exactly. If there are any questions, you can please let me know. Able to follow, right? Able to follow me, right? Yes, okay, fine. Then see, go through this concept once again. This is also very, very important. Okay. And if you have this basic, there will be so many interview questions like what is point-to-point integration, when to use point-to-point integration, when to use USB integration. All these questions are answered in this particular presentation right now. Okay, if you have this knowledge, any kind of question related to this particular concept can be easily answered. Okay, that is the reason. Again, go once again through the session and please understand the concepts. And if there are any questions, please ask me tomorrow also. That's fine. Exactly. Okay, if there are any questions. If you don't have any questions right now, we'll wind up the session and then we'll see tomorrow. Shall we wind up the session? That's fine.
Hello.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Please send the recording so that we can.
Yes, yes. I see. It will be shared for all the paid people. Actually, if there is anything, please discuss with Baji and he will be giving the access and all. Exactly. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Okay. And all the recording access. See, I just want to convey one more point also here. All recordings will be kept in one folder every day. Please download that particular sessions video. We can't maintain that huge content exactly. That is the reason after Sundays again it will be removed from the online section. You please download it and keep it, and you can go multiple times when and ever you require exactly. And only one link will be provided. In that link itself every day by end of the day exactly. For example, we will have multiple batches running. That is the reason obviously by for example today's session, by end of the day it will be uploaded. And please refresh it and check, and that video will be available. Only in certain circumstances, very less number of circumstances, it may be uploaded maybe 1 or 2 days late. Basically 99% of the time you never face that situation also. Okay, every day by end of that particular day it will be uploaded and you can go through that recording exactly. Okay.
Okay.